Hearken to me, Ka'amcha Yisrael. In Parashat Devarim, the pasuk reads, "Va'omar aleichem be'et achi lemor." I said to you at this time, "Lo uchal levadi se'et etchem." I cannot carry you by myself. Moshe tells Bnei Yisrael, "I'm not able to bear the burden of the people alone." It seems as though our stalwart leader who guided his people for so many decades is expressing a weariness and ready to either step down or share the responsibility. However, this interpretation doesn't quite fit, considering that Moshe lived to 120 and was never ill or incapacitated. So what is the true meaning behind his words? The Ishbitzer Rebbe Zatzal suggests that Moshe was hinting at a deeper message. Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen by Hashem to lead the Jewish people out of Egypt, receive the Torah at Har Sinai, and guide them through the trials of 40 years in the Midbar. However, leading them into Eretz Yisrael was not part of his designated role, but rather that of Yehoshua ben Nun. Nonetheless, Moshe hoped that the Gezerah might be altered. He goes on to tell the people, "Lo uchal levadi," I cannot change the decree myself. As ein chavush matir atzmo mebeit asurim, a prisoner cannot free himself from his own confinement. Moshe needed Klal Yisrael to pray on his behalf and plead with Hashem to allow him entry into the land. Unfortunately, Am Yisrael didn't grasp the underlying message and responded with Tov hadavar asher dibart la'asot. The matter which you spoke of is good to do. This response sealed Moshe's fate, leading him to appoint future judges and leaders for the people. Somewhat frustrated, Moshe declares he appointed anashim chachamim v'neduim, wise and esteemed men, but not nivonim, men of understanding, because Am Yisrael just couldn't comprehend Moshe's true intentions. The Ishbitz's insight into Moshe's words, "Lo uchal levadi," reveals a profound truth about the nature of leadership and devotion. This same truth is poignantly illustrated in the story of an unknown Polish Jew who, in the midst of unimaginable suffering, found the strength to whisper a final plea that would change the course of his legacy forever. The great Mikubal Reb Gamliel Rabinowitz shares the following. In a distant American city, there was a respected yeshiva principal. He was a dynamic and dedicated individual who tirelessly worked to increase the attendance of the local children at the yeshiva. During one of his visits to the homes of Jewish families who had drifted away from Torah and mitzvot, he arrived at the residence of a man who had been far removed from Judaism since his youth. It appeared that his father had not provided him with a Jewish education, and aside from being a simple Jew who observes kashrut, as we will soon see, the man literally knew nothing else about Judaism. He received the principal cordially, but when he learned of the purpose of the visit, he responded with a firm resistance. "There's no reason for my children to receive a different education than what I had. What was good enough for me should certainly be good enough for my children." But despite his refusal to send his children to the yeshiva, he, however, expressed his commitment to supporting the yeshiva, and he made a generous donation. He then offered the menahel a cup of tea, which was politely declined due to concerns about kashrut. The host, understanding the menahel's concerns, shared, "When it comes to kashrut, you can rely on me without hesitation. This is one mitzvah we observe with the utmost dedication. In fact, we only purchase the most reputable hechsherim and strictly separate milk and meat." The menahel was stunned, wondering how such a commitment to kashrut had found its way into a completely secular home. The man shared his story. "During my youth, I was drafted into the U.S. Army, and I was sent to liberate Poland from the Nazis Yamach Shemam during World War II. Though I knew little about Judaism, I had a deep Jewish heart and wanted to save as many Jews as possible, so I joined a unit that was liberating concentration camps. One day, as we moved from camp to camp, distributing chocolate bars, I encountered a frail and emaciated man on the brink of death. I rushed to offer him some of my food from my supplies on my backpack, and he refused. With his last bit of strength, he murmured, "Nor kosher." In my ignorance, I didn't understand what kosher meant, and I tried to feed him once again. He refused, repeating the words, "Nor kosher." As I listened closely, I realized that those were his final words. Overwhelmed with the realization that I couldn't understand his plea and I failed to save him, I vowed that upon returning to America, I would discover the significance of that word, kosher. If a Jew was willing to sacrifice his life for it, it must be incredibly paramount. When I returned home, I consulted with the local rabbi and I learned about the obligation of keeping kosher for which that Jew had given his life. And since then, I have been meticulous about observing the laws of kashrut, and I made it my mission. The Menahel, deeply moved by the man's story, naturally responded, given your dedication to kashrut, you surely want your children to continue in this tradition. However, without having witnessed such a profound sacrifice, they likely will not uphold this practice as you have. The superlative way to ensure the observance of kashrut continues in the next generation is to enroll your children in a yeshiva. There, they will receive an authentic and thorough Jewish education that will, Be'ezrat Hashem, instill in them a genuine commitment to kashrut and other mitzvot. Remarkably, the man agreed with the Manahel's insight and decided to transfer his children to the local yeshiva. Sure enough, in time, he was blessed to see his children grow into esteemed Talmidei Chachamim and true Yirei Shemayim. The legacy of that unknown Polish Jew who sacrificed his life for the sake of kashrut indirectly led to the spiritual revival of an entire family. In the powerful words of Moshe, Lo'uchal levadi, we hear the echoes of a deeper truth. True leadership is not about personal ambition, but about serving as a vessel for the divine. As we bear witness to the incredible power of the emaciated Polish Jew's final plea, we are reminded of our own potential waiting to shine brighter with each deliberate choice. May we too kindle the flame of devotion within ourselves by making small yet significant changes, perhaps choosing Pat Yisrael or Chalav Yisrael, or refraining from eating in restaurants without a hechsher. Yes, even if it's just a salad, we can strengthen our commitment to kashrut. In these challenging times, wouldn't you agree that Am Yisrael needs our collective merits, our zechutim, now more than ever? May our individual sparks converge to form a circular blaze of righteousness, shielding and protecting our people. And may our achdut and devotion be the catalyst for a much, much brighter future. Mika Amcha Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom Mivorach.